I mean, Framework did release. I guess I probably shouldn't bring it up again, but Framework did release a.
It is. That laptop looks amazing.
Yeah, the Framework Laptop 13 Pro. They're calling it the developer laptop.
Yeah. So the only problem they're having is this. It's got this new LP cam memory for it, which is very new, but also like hard to get a hold of. So that's their big problem with selling them. But all CNC aluminum chassis, fully compatible with Ubuntu or with Linux, so you can actually preload it with Ubuntu.
Mm-hmm.
I want 17 of them.
The aluminum chassis is probably the coolest part for me because I think they've all been plastic thus far.
They have.
Yeah, like this will feel like a proper, MacBook competitor or Surface competitor.
I am, and touchscreen display.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Well, that makes it not a MacBook competitor. Makes it better than a MacBook.
The haptic mouse, all of it. Everything I'm reading about it is just, it's really good reviews.
Nice. I'm still on the 16 train, though, because of that dedicated graphics or whatever you want. They didn't release like an expanded battery, did they, for that? That was one of their first ideas behind the difference, different modules that you could put on the 16, the big laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever did an extra battery, but that was an idea they had early on.
I don't know where you'd put the battery. Oh, maybe on the bottom or something, like thicken it up or something.
Well, like the expansion bay itself. Like instead of the graphics card, you could just get a bigger battery.
Oh, maybe that's all it
yeah, but
it was?
They haven't done that yet. I don't know if they just can't work it out or what.
Or everybody's just like, no, just give me an RTX.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go 16, you're definitely you want most people want the 16-inch laptop. It's usually because you're looking for a workstation replacement. You're not really looking for battery life.
Oh yeah,
like your laptop is a plug-in device.
Yeah,
it's just I need to be able to work next to this outlet instead of this outlet.
I need to not shut off when I move.
Yeah, so the 14-inch is just a really, really cool system.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're in the news, so
I don't know what you're talking about. I refuse to acknowledge it.
Oh, okay. Well,
hopefully
I think
it doesn't come up today.
I think they handled it pretty well, so we'll get into it.
So speaking of framework, what does a laptop company, a CRM giant, and a Big Four accounting firm have in common?
Not size of company, not income, not industry.
Like, probably not coffee provider.
No. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Could be Maxwell House.
Oh, that would be sad. So I don't think Framework is cool. I think they're too cool for Maxwell House.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maxwell House.
Absolutely. No, not sorry, Maxwell House.
No. What if they walked in with a sponsorship deal like tomorrow and we're like, hey.
I'd have to make some serious life decisions. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that you would make the decision. I would probably just be like, listen, what exactly do you need from me?
Do I have to sign a contract where I drink Maxwell House?
And are you suggesting can I still just drink my regular coffee that I drink and you put it in a Maxwell House mug?
Yeah, there you go.
Because I can do that. I can sell my soul that easily.
You've got Monster Energy in that.
You don't know this, but yeah, I do have Monster Energy. Yeah. It's Celsius. Because they sponsor everybody.
So are you alluding to drink vendors? They have the same drink vendor?
Yeah, they all have the same drink vendor. That's it. We're going to cover that. If they're hitting this, it might be that they all are the result of a security breach.
Mm.
And so we have the pleasure of targeting these. So unfortunately, we'll talk a little bit about what happened with Framework in a bit, but I want to get started with the big one, which is Ernst Young, which is not a big one. But in all of these, they have a common denominator, which is actually that they themselves did not get breached. It's a vendor that they trusted that got breached.
Oh, yeah. We covered this before with a few other instances of companies getting hacked.
This is taking a look at who your vendors are. And, you know, I love the thought process of your vendor's vendor is like the parts supplier for your car's mechanic, right? Mm-hmm. Listen, you may love your mechanic, and they might use very quality parts, but you don't really have a choice over what parts that mechanic uses when they put those parts in. You didn't pick with them, but you trust that they are quality parts or what you're expecting, right? And that's kind of what's happening here is in all of these organizations, we have a vendor that was breached, not the same vendor in each one of them, but a vendor that was breached, and as a result, their data about you was leaked, right? This is kind of something that we need to be aware of as we're choosing vendors. And look, the problem with cybersecurity is it's if, not when. And we know, we talk about that, like, but it is your data, and you are going to probably be upset a little bit. But how you react when your vendor's compromised, or how these companies react when they're compromised, I think says a lot about the companies themselves. So I want to start off with the messiest and probably one of the most public ones first, which is Ernst Young. EY is a great case study in what happens when disclosure goes slow. So, Griff, do you mind just giving us a little bit of backstory on what happened with Ernst and Young?
Yeah, Ernst Young. Breach window was between March 28th and April 12th, 2026, and it happened via a third-party IT support ticketing platform.
Now, it's funny. I'm going to press pause on it because if you paid close attention, we said March through April was the breach window.
It's August.
And we just really started hearing about it within the past couple weeks on the news.
Yeah.
That's an important distinction. Let's keep an asterisk on that. But go ahead. Yeah, let's keep going. What did they find?
Well, they detected it April 23rd and then disclosed it finally mid-July.
Yeah, so we've got 3 months.
83 days.
Yeah.
83-day gap between them, fighting it and then actually disclosing it too. And they found it after the fact as well, Breach window ended April 12th around there.
And they were already out of the system by this point.
Yeah.
The breach had already happened. That company is like, yeah, we got what data we wanted.
Yep. I mean, the data was names, addresses, social security numbers, financial account codes, card numbers, tax documents. And this is an accounting company after all.
We a big four.
Yeah. This is a lot of
this is companies that you're probably your Fortune 50s, your Fortune 100s. Mm-hmm. These are big companies, and probably their CEOs who have their personal information,
likely
doing their taxes or doing their account. This big,
it's huge. Now the confirmed victim count is unclear. We still are quite unsure of it. But in state filings only show partial information, but a few hundred to a low thousand is the kind of the estimates.
The thought process is that actually they're being conservative and that realistically they think there's tens of thousands, and this is in result to a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit that's been broken out. But again, we now know that they were attacked, and we know sort of the data. 83 days and some change, right? The 83 days is the initial disclosure of the event. During that time, Shiny Hunters, you may recognize that name. We've actually talked about them in one of our last security-related podcasts, which was Canvas.
Canvas, yeah.
The educational one. Shiny Hunters claiming credit. But again, EY hasn't confirmed who it was. They haven't confirmed what's affected. They haven't confirmed really anything other than, we got hit.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to keep pushing this because these companies, a lot of these companies offer audit services in the IT. They're supposed to be directing you on cybersecurity and criticizing it. And again, there's no such thing as, perfect, but when you're doing that, you kind of need to make sure that you are taking care of the house. And this wasn't that they were affected. It's their third-party IT support ticketing platform has access to the data.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand all of that. I don't understand why a third party has this level of information. And effectively, Shiny Hunters was able to compromise that system and gather all of this other info.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as a result, there's a class action lawsuit that was filed just a few days after it came out. And the only thing that we know of is that Ernst Young is currently offering 24 months of identity monitoring.
Sweet.
Right?
So helpful.
So we'll see. And that's where this is. But we're not sure how big this is. So while we have this, we do have one that might be bigger.
This is kind of the reason I was even thinking about this whole this topic in general. This is the big one in my mind. So big, in fact, that it kind of encompasses quite a few different companies that are really giving us a lot of information, admittedly, on what was, stolen.
So our next up in this wonderful cybersecurity show is a name that'll probably be very known to all of us, and that's Salesforce, which I believe also has an interesting common denominator with EY. Griff, I like you just reading off these stats. Tell me the stats. Talk to us about the Salesforce breach.
Well, this Salesforce data theft wave, which the common denominator you mentioned, which Shiny Hunters claimed this as well, still again kind of unverified. But this affected 3 large organizations, which was Alcon, Questel, and Luminus, which were all hit via this Salesforce issue or hack, basically.
And basically what it sounds like is this is a cascading hack. And interestingly enough, is that that 2 of them were confirmed to be via the ticketing system.
This was Vishing.
Well, so this was Vishing. Yeah, this is so not the ticketing system, but actually the IT support.
Yep, calling on the phone and kind of social engineering their way into getting employees to approve malicious connected apps.
And now all of a sudden that gives them access to their system, So when you see people, you want to install some add-on and it says, we'll integrate with Microsoft 365, you need to accept these. Mm-hmm. Why do you see IT people reject them outright? It's because there are so many out there that they need to go through an approval process. This is one where sometimes people get upset with us because we tend to reject them. And you go, well, why didn't you approve this? It's like, I don't have the time or resources. Is the company as a whole going to this? I'm not going to research it for one person because the reality is like that's a lot of time, energy, and effort because look at what happens when you don't do it. They pretended that these integrations that they wrote were to be part of a company security initiative. And so they get people to hit accept, connect their Microsoft account, and now it doesn't matter that you have 2-factor authentication. It doesn't matter that you change your password. Your account has an app that's linked to your account that's independent of all of those. And now they can read your email, they can read your calendar, they can read everything that you have access to, your SharePoint data, your OneDrive, whatever. You just approved that level of access because, you think you're talking to an IT support company. So 2 of these attacked those, and basically it was just like they just fed off of each other. So you have, in the case of the Alcon one that you mentioned, 25 million records were confirmed exposed. Then you go into Questel, 21 million records, and then cascading that risk out to a 20,000 client organizations.
Huge.
And Luminus were all hit via Salesforce. So all of this data, as a result of the Salesforce compromised, is out in the open of these clients.
Yeah.
So here's Salesforce, blah, blah, blah. This SalesLoft drift token theft happens, and now all of a sudden these companies were affected, and their data was inherently stolen.
Yeah. The claim is that it's a 1 billion records, but it's
across just 40 companies.
Yeah, yeah. And then with a ransom deadline of August 4th, so that's already passed now as well.
And I don't know that I've heard too much as the follow-up to it, so...
Oh, Salesforce itself refused to pay ransom, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But some of the other companies
we don't know about it.
Because, when you're dealing with clients of clients, they'll double dip. Mm-hmm. These guys, because they've got the data records. So not only will they pay, they'll make Salesforce pay, but then they'll also go to like Luminus and Questel and Alcon and say, okay, you pay.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure we still have your data.
We'll make it public or something, That's the ransom game. So, yeah, scary stuff, man. And again, this is technically social engineering, less of a exploit or anything like that. This is just hackers finding out how to get, authentication in there by walking somebody through it. So you have to be super careful.
It is true. Yeah, it does. That is, but it's social engineering. I think they're getting off on a technicality by saying that they're saying the platform wasn't breached, but the company, they're staying away from the fact that it's but they were breached.
They were breached, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're using technicalities and wordplay, but good thing is that they didn't pay. The best way to keep the malicious cyber industry intact is to pay them. As long as there's money in this,
they'll keep it.
They keep doing. Now, I say that and just say, however, this is a huge industry, and just know that when we don't pay, they will get desperate and they will become more aggressive. And so we have to keep working harder and harder and harder until it's just no longer a value. But that's why, right? Initially, they just encrypted data. And they dropped payload, encrypted data, wanted their money, got paid. And then we started getting better about not paying them on that. So that's when they switched to extortion. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to steal your data. And now that's not necessarily working as well. So yes, great, it's not working, but just notice that they're amping up their tactics. We need to know that this gets worse before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we're not paying, the end goal is that we're going to topple this $1 billion, several $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
We've had sprawling ecosystems. We've had months of fallout. I've got one more, and we talked a little bit about how much we're big fans of their product. And unfortunately, we started our conversation today talking about framework. But we're also going to end our conversation today about framework.
Talking about framework. Poor guys.
But what I want to say, and I want to applaud them for, is it was a single vendor. It was 17 minutes between finding out and disclosing it.
Yeah.
Minutes. Not days.
Yeah, from compromised exfiltration, just 17.
But they figured out exactly what was going on. It was covered.
It was a SQL injection 0-day in Metabase, which I'm not familiar with Metabase, admittedly. But it was a CVE score of 10.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Yeah,
it was a big one.
That's as high as you get.
And I think a fairly new CVE, so it should have been, needed to be patched, had not yet been patched. But yeah, the severity score was a 10-0.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. It usually means that it's super easy to do, and you get everything. You get all the keys.
Fix it as fast as possible. And the data exposed was names, emails, phones, addresses, login IPs, and business customers, VAT and EIN numbers, which are pretty big, pretty important things. I mean, it's not social security numbers and things like that, but it's still pretty important. But Metabase notified Framework August 6th, and Framework notified customers the same day. Same day turnaround versus, 83 for Ernst Young?
Yep.
Same day, dude.
Yep. And Metabase is a SaaS provider, right? It wasn't just them. Tally in Kylo code just kind of reiterates the idea of, listen, one bug for a vendor equals many victims. This is why it's really important to trust your vendors and trust your vendors' vendors, even though you don't know, and ask questions, right? So but I can't be upset that, listen, Framework thought that this tool was being managed for them, and it was. But I think where I get is it looks like Metabase was able to catch and do what they could as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they notified as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that Framework's response, they didn't have very much data, right? But they shared immediately what they knew.
Yeah.
And they just basically were like, look, we don't know exactly what's going on yet. We know that we've had a vendor failure. We're sorry for that. We picked this vendor. They didn't throw them completely under the rug, but they did explain that this was a vendor attack and that they were working with that vendor to find out, and they would just keep us up to date. And it looks like they've done that largely as we've gone through all of this, versus knowing about it for 83 days.
Yeah.
And this is stark contrast, because here's a tiny company in relation, because Framework is a niche manufacturer of computer pieces, right? Mm-hmm. Like what they're doing, we think is amazing, and we're not just trying to like applaud them because of this breach, but I really appreciate that they were forthcoming. It gives me more confidence in them, I think we've talked a little bit, like I found out that somebody I do business with, just sort of like as a personal thing, was attacked, and there's been no mention of it yet.
Oh, wow.
But my credit card notified me that my credentials were affected.
Yeah.
And so it just, every day that they don't talk makes me more upset with them, because they're just literally hiding this under the rug.
Yeah.
And pretending like it wasn't a thing. And so you have stuff like, here's a company like EY that is supposed to be coaching and teaching these large organizations how to do it right. And the example they set is to CYA.
Yeah. Super bad.
Versus a small company who could be destroyed financially as the fallout, puts something out the same day. And that shows that they care about me more than they care about their profits.
Yeah.
Like, they care about getting this information. They care about security. Mm-hmm. It makes me feel good that we talk so well and highly about them, because this is a similar incident. It's bad. But I can start making... The bad guys don't have a 3-month head start on trying to open up accounts under my and Framework doesn't even have my credit card information.
Yeah, exactly. What's the financial information?
Frickin' EY has my social security number, my business EIN,
everything.
And everything about me, that they could go and start opening credit card information. You waited 83 days.
Yep. Yeah.
Wonder who's going to be promoted to the next Big Four.
Yeah.
At least that's what I hope kind of happens, because it's just unacceptable. Company that big and a company in that position of influence and power that has that level of data, it's really, really frustrating.
I mean, they have built probably a huge amount of trust with their clients, and they're trying to hold on to that trust, and this is something that'll compromise it in their mind. But in my mind, you should do this. This would build trust with me, because you're being open and honest and letting me know ahead of time, or as soon as possible at the minimum. But
exactly,
here we are.
We're not upset about breach, and maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but this is 2026. We are all doing our best in this.
Yeah,
we are all doing what we can, but what we can do is be open and honest, and we can work together. And listen, if you're sitting here and some of this stuff is making you nervous as well, like, how do you combat against this? Well, look, you're not going to be able to say audit every single tool that that Lighthouse uses, right? Mm-hmm. But you can ask, what is our incident response? What are our disclosure timelines? What are you doing? How do you insulate yourself? Because, right, like, there are things, and I'll simply say this, like, we have not had any major incidents, and our goal is to get information as out there as possible. I mean, half the time we have little hiccups in our customers' like databases, and we send out notifications right away.
You gotta, yeah.
And
Even just downtime, you gotta let people know.
So I hope that is a culture that we maintain no matter what. And I know it says like, oh, you know, why do you say may? The reality is that thankfully I've never been faced with that situation, and I hope and trust we continue to make the right decisions when that, you know, should that time come. I don't want to say when. I don't want to invite that. But you do look at companies that support other companies in the capacity that EY, Salesforce, Framework, Lighthouse, that we all have. We have an influence on companies. Managed service providers are attacked. We are a target. And it's a tough business to be in. And as a result, you know, our team is miserable at the amount of restrictions that are made. But we do that to minimize and mitigate risk. But you don't have to test and audit every tool that we use. But you can ask about what our incident response procedures are. What is our disclosure timelines? What do we promise to do? Because those are the things that, I say, like, we want to get this done. I want to be a framework.
Yeah.
I know Huntress had a similar issue. I think they were actually affected by the Salesforce, which is one of our security vendors. They notified us the moment they found out. And I think they even offered remediation assistance and investigation work, because for them, it wasn't about making money off of Salesforce per se. It was about making sure that they retained trust in their customers, because the only thing that was really affected was sales data. But that's sales data. That's still your data. And that, like, they came out and they even published in a blog what they were planning on doing, how they were planning on working it, and what they knew. And they did it as soon as they found out. So really just a great conversation is okay, so what happens with your tools? You can maybe ask them how their tools are locked down, if they're locked down. You know, some tools can be. A lot of our important tools that contain the most private data, they're not internet facing. They're isolated out. Another thing that you can do, though, is in the case of the SalesLoft thing, is make sure that your staff, that technically wasn't a breach, but it did connect data. Make sure that if there is some form of connected app or device login type request, that they're looking at them. If you get an MFA request and it doesn't make sense that you would be trying to log in, don't approve it.
Then
that's an easy way for attackers to get around MFAs, because they just go, oh, you're trying to log in, approve, and they're going, oh, I must need it.
Yep.
Well, I'm not even near my computer. Why am I approving an MFA?
Yep.
But it happens. It happens a lot.
And just general training of your employees to understand, to look out for these kinds of things. MFA fatigue, like you said, vishing is a huge one, especially now with AI voices and such. It's gotten pretty complex.
And I also saw, there's some conversations. Get to know your team too. So if somebody says that they're from IT, get to know them, and you will not offend anybody. If, like, especially on our team, if you're confused or you're nervous about something, we give people, our phone number written on mouse pads and cards and everything, and it's everywhere. If you're concerned that we call you, as a great example, like somebody claims to be an IT service provider, you're part of IT, just be like, hey, mind if I just give you a call back?
Yeah.
And then hang up and call the number, because they might be able to spoof the number going outbound.
Can't do it inbound.
But when you go to dial that number, it's always going to come back to Lighthouse.
Yep.
So at that point, you pick up, and if we sound confused, then you saved yourself some time. If not, you'll get connected right back to your tech, and you're fine. So don't hesitate. Like, we're sensitive to those items as well. So if there's anything that ever bothers you, it would actually make us happy.
Yeah.
Like, to be like, hey, this seems a little odd. You mind if I call you back?
Yep, just trying to verify. Or even just another method of communication. Hey, I got that guy's email already. I know I've been talking to him before. Let me just verify.
Verify, then trust.
Yep.
Not trust, then verify. That is what we're doing. All right. I think that's all we've kind of got for I guess it's a little depressing.
Hey, we got to do a couple a year, like we said earlier.
And we've been sitting on a bunch of them. So
Yeah.
yay!
Pretty
They came out. They were convenient for us to talk about in one.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, what we're seeing is we're seeing an uptick in vendor relationship management software. If you're looking for risk assessment type platforms, and if you're doing business with some of the Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies or utility companies, you're probably doing these for them, but you don't realize that part of what they're asking you to do is to do it for your vendors as well. And even if you're not, there's systems out there that, at least from a documentation standpoint, will allow you to collect information on how vendors do it, so that it's an automated process instead of a manual. And the cool thing that we have is our system is the more vendors that are on the same system, your data can transfer between.
Mm-hmm.
So if they use the same platform, they don't have to fill it out 50 times. They can fill it out once, and from there submit it to all of their different vendors, and that can reduce time too. So if you're looking at ways that you can assess and handle risk and manage those items, you'll start to see that this is coming up. There's two technologies that we're seeing on the insurance side of things that get mentioned a lot. A lot of them are these supply chain management and risk assessments, and SIM, which is just a massive event logging database, are two technologies that we're seeing on insurance renewals. In the case of these vendors, what this does is it's supposed to help you understand what your vendor risk is with should that happen. And if everybody's filling this out, it's just documentation,
Mm-hmm.
but at least then it gives you an idea of what happens. And admittedly, the insurance company likes it because it does identify who's to blame if there's a problem.
Yeah.
And if they lied on their risk assessment, your insurance company's going to make that person pay.
Yeah.
So, I think that does it for another episode of the Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Feels like it's been a little bit of time, but yeah, hopefully your summer's going well. You're staying ice cold, right?
Ice cold now. The AC's working.
Now that our AC's working, oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy here. We're sweating a little bit less. Hopefully you are too. And yeah, I guess if you've got anything, you want to take a look at any of our episodes that you've missed, you can go to lighthousesol.com/podcast or on the hub and click on the podcast icon. You can take a look at everything that Griffin and his team is doing on our social media. I really love all the news updates and everything he puts out there. It's just great wealth of knowledge that we have available to not just our clients, but anybody just randomly browsing. So support him. I definitely do that. And then, I guess we'll catch you all next time on the next episode of the Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast. See ya.
See you.